Hey, I was asked to talk about the future of technology and creativity. And three main ideas come to mind. The first one is that historically the artist was always considered the starving artist, right? We knew that we could dedicate our lives to that which we were passionate about and would be free to focus on our work, but nevertheless would have very little expectations of actually being rewarded financially for our output. And it was a sacrifice that we all made and accepted. Nevertheless, in the future, with a variety of new tools that are going to make production and execution a little bit more democratic, it is actually the ideas that are going to be more important than ever. Because within a global market, ideas can actually be incredibly disruptive and multiply exponentially the output of any equal group that has the same tools, right? So for the first time in history, maybe starving artists won't be so starving anymore. And we might be able to have a more important role within society where we're no longer just inspiring, but actually we could be contributing to the creation of the tools that disrupt and change society. That's idea number one. Idea number two, I want to base it on Edison's famous quote: "Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration." If up to now, historically, in the creation of any new invention, it was only 1% of the time that was actually dedicated to conceptualizing, and 99% of the rest of the time was all about executing that concept so that it could finally come up to fruition, this distribution of our time no longer will make sense in the future. Because with automation, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, a lot of the repetitive tasks of fabrication and execution will be able to be replaced. Nevertheless, it's that 1% that won't be. So for us in the future to dedicate our weekly time and only have a 1% of real contribution that cannot be replicated by machines is incredibly inefficient. So we need to overturn, we need to flip Edison's paradigm. We need to go from 1% inspiration to 99% inspiration and just 1% perspiration, right? So that's the second idea. And the third and most important, I'm going to use a quote by Picasso. And he used to say that inspiration has to catch you working. Chuck Close, another famous artist, used to say that inspiration is for amateurs. His idea was that the amateur had to go for a long walk by the sea waiting for an idea to externally arrive whenever it happened. But it is the true professional that simply goes to work and forces that idea to come. I think in the future, it's going to be more important than ever that we learn how to develop our creativity and summon ideas at will. And so in the similar manners that we have understood that to stay physically healthy, we need to run, we need to exercise, go to the gym, etc. To stay mentally healthy, maybe we need to meditate and get enough sleep. Well, in a similar manner, to continue to be really creative, we must understand creativity as a muscle, as a technique that can be developed over time and that we can make more and more efficient. So summing up, three key notions for technology and creativity in the future. One, the starving artist might not be so starving in the future. We might actually have an important role to play. Two, it is no longer 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. We have to flip Edison's paradigm so that we can spend most of our efficient time being inspired and being creative and free. To do that, creativity has to be summoned at will. We have to be incredibly professional at developing the highest potential creative outputs that we possibly can. Those are the first three ideas that come to mind on that subject. If you want me to ramble about anything else, just send me a DM. I'll set up my phone and try to say what comes to mind on the subject. Thanks for your time as always, and I hope you have an amazing weekend.